welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemons, and what the is happening with Lord and Miller and Sony's Beyond the Spider-Verse? Over the last couple of days, there have been scoops or rumors that Sony had scrapped most of the next Spider-Verse movie and alleged it would most likely not be released until 2027. This rightfully got the internet in an uproar. With little evidence of what's happening right now with the movie, but knowing what we know, it's understandable that people will form their own opinions about what's happening. We decided to piece together the events that have led up to this moment so you can better, form your own opinion and to help clear the air of confusion. Let's talk about what the is happening with Lord and Miller's Spider-Verse. For those that don't know, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are the filmmaking duo who worked behind some great iconic films and television staples such as the Lego Movie franchise, 21 and 22 Jump Street, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and the television series The Last Man on Earth. They also produced Sony Pictures Animation's Academy Award-winning Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which Lord also wrote on. After the success of 2018's Into the Spider-Verse, it was no surprise that the duo would later announce the sequel, dropping April 8th, 2022. The footage revealed for the sequel following the Brazil Comic-Con in December 2021 confirmed it would be called Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, with the title revealing the film will be a two-part story. They just said that there was just too much story for one film, which is cool. Give me everything. I want everything. In April 2022 at CinemaCon, the studio announced the title of Part 2, titled Beyond the Spider-Verse. They also pushed the theatrical release from Across the Spider-Verse from October 7, 2022 to June 2nd, 2023. They also disclosed that Part 2 would be released on March 29th, 2024. This is coming to you from September 2024, and I'll tell you right now, we have not seen a single goddamn movie. A single version of Part 2, I should say. By June 2023, we're hearing rumors of a delay to Beyond the Spider-Verse. On June 23rd, 2023, Vulture reported 4 animators who left Across the Spider-Verse due to difficult working conditions, numerous revisions that exceeded overtime, and 11-hour days, 7 days a week that stem from Phil Lord's management style. They also described other artists leaving due to the working conditions. One of the 4 artists mentioned that the production of Beyond the Spider-Verse, its sequel, had not changed, and there would be no way for it to release by March of 2024 due to the amount of work needed to finish it. Only a couple of days after that report did Lord and Miller discuss the new release window and say, just like we're going to take the time necessary to make Beyond the Spider-Verse great, and we won't back into a release date that doesn't fit. So we're now without a release date. I fantasize about having my own personal chef, somebody who can do all the hard work of menu planning and meal prep. Someday I'll get there, but in the meantime, I have Cook Unity. Cook Unity is basically a pipeline from your home to dozens of talented chefs that cook delicious, inventive meals, fresh every day in regional micro kitchens, not warehouse production facilities. Their roster of all-star chefs include Food Network alums, James Beard Award winners, and acclaimed restaurateurs. Cook Unity is the first chef-to-consumer platform that delivers freshly prepared, pre-selected meals right to your door weekly. The subscription is super flexible. You can pause, skip weeks, or cancel at any time. It's super easy to do. You can pick from over 350 meals each week based on your dietary needs or what kind of cuisine you like. Monday night, you could have Ruben Garcia's crispy tilapia. Tuesday's dinner could be Esther Choi's teriyaki roasted salmon. And Wednesday, you could have Stacey Barang's grilled Asian hanger steak. Go to cookunity.com/nrockstars50 or click the link in the description and you can use the code NRockstars50 to get 50% off your first order of Cook Unity meals to try them out yourself. Unsurprisingly, animation takes a long time, but it really does take a long time. It takes so much work, and being confined to a release date creates pressure and unsafe working conditions to meet these deadlines. I know that it takes time to make an animated project because I actually worked for Bob's Burgers, and the steps took forever. There was a draft, then an open script table read for the folks to read and take notes to update the script. Then there was the VO sessions along with storyboarding, and the VO sessions itself was a dance to get everyone in on their scheduled time. Then there are the storyboard revisions and layout. Then there's the timers. This disregards any last minute issues they might have or the composers and music, post-production, and once it's set overseas, depending on the studio. This process took us 9 months per episode, 3 months pre, 4 months shipped, and 2 months post. And that's for a 30-minute episode of Bob's Burgers. Imagine the process for Beyond the Spider-Verse, creating new characters and locations in a feature-length animated film using 6 different animation styles, not including the techniques used in 3D and 2D and converting them from hand-drawn. Between story, execution, and delivery, this will take more than 9 months to a year. So we have no new release date. In July 2023, Sony adjusted its release calendar. Beyond the Spider-Verse was removed indefinitely. Yeah, we got a release update, but not really the one that we're looking for. According to a Sony source, the union's work stoppage orders prevented the voice cast from completing dialogue recordings in time for the spring opening. This all left us theorizing theorizing about the new release date since we have yet to confirm a new one. December 2023, they said they were back in production after the strikes, and this is excellent news, but again, we know how long production in a movie like Spider-Verse will take. Then May 2024 came unsettling news when Sony Pictures CEO said the studio was exploring different opportunities to make its films less expensive and more efficient, primarily using AI, which as we know was a major issue following the 2023 Hollywood labor disputes. Miller responded to concerns that they'd use AI in Beyond Spider-Verse, saying that they would not use generative AI in the film, not now, not ever. Miller, this man, must come to our rescue whenever we freak out online. This is the third time he had to. 3 months later, and everyone's still asking when for the new Spider-Verse movie. Corinne Sony mentions in an interview being slated to start recording in a few months, though the movie Beyond the Spider-Verse is in deep production. It's an animation, so it's different and takes a long time. All of this leads up to the elephant in the room that has happened this week. As we're all still clamoring for any update all the time, September 9, 2024, Discussing Film reports via The Insider, which is an entertainment journalist and scooper Jeff Snyder's independent news site, Sony reportedly scrapped most of Beyond the Spider-Verse for creative reasons. This film is unlikely to release before 2027. This is an insane update, but with little to no positive updates, it's not an outlandish idea. Saying Sony reportedly scrapped most of the movie, keyword reportedly, could intuitively mean to people it's a hardened scoop. This is alleged from one person to another. We don't have evidence of their conversation or the source. According to Jeff's article, he said, "I heard that Sony scrapped most of Beyond the Spider-Verse for creative reasons, and because of that decision, the movie would unlikely debut before 2027 given the detailed animation it requires." Jeff's phrasing in the article and the post, he stresses that his verbiage never solidified anything. It was us that emotionally reacted and ran with it, which, sure, but come on. However, the internet doesn't care about that right now. We've got a laundry list of non-consequential updates for this film and harmful and poor working allegations from the last one, and understandably, there is a digital outcry and demand for reassurance that our favorite Spidey franchise is all good. That's when Daniel Pemberton, Spider-Verse composer, responds, "Don't really ever want to weigh in on this sort of stuff, but would you ever believe there could be sometimes stuff on the internet that might not always be particularly accurate?" This has so much weight behind it because this update isn't coming from someone who is required to comfort us, like a Sony exec or a producer or director. This is someone who arguably doesn't have to defend the franchise necessarily. He could have just walked away, but he said it. Daniel's tweet neither confirms nor denies what Discussing Film or Jeff suggested. Pemberton said, "Stuff on the internet that is not always particularly accurate." This doesn't debunk whether the film has been pushed past 2027 or if pieces have been scrapped. It just offers that everyone's reasons for outrage may not necessarily be true. To which Jeff Snyder sarcastically responds, "Got a hot casting story going up today, right after I call the film's composer to fact check it. Don't want the horns, don't mess with the bull, just shut the f up." It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. But it is kind of funny. At first, I would have heard Jeff out because I agree, it takes animation long to finish things, let alone the highly detailed animated works of the Spider-Verse movies. So it being pushed that far would never surprise me. Additionally, Across and Beyond the Spider-Verse was initially intended to be one movie, but then Beyond became 2 movies. So things might have, in a way, been scrapped. Also, I think it's good to note that I think Jeff has since apologized for his crashing out, so I think he learned. I think he learned. That's when producer Christopher Miller tweeted the same day, "Nothing has been scrapped, the reels are coming along nicely." So Jeff had been debunked by Chris Miller regarding things being scrapped. However, the semantics of the script being revised or scenes being removed are a different story that Jeff is defending. Additionally, Miller mentions that the reels coming along nicely, which is great. I think when he says reels, he's meaning the animatic aspect for animation. This is like the movie storyboard. It's a really, really rough visual for sure, but it previews your animation. We'd get to see these at Bob's Burgers after storyboarding, but before it was sent overseas. And if all of these tweets from folks working on the Spider-Verse movies didn't give you enough hope, the next day, Samantha Estley, a story artist for Beyond the Spider-Verse, tweeted, "Checked with production today and can confirm nothing is scrapped. Everyone calm down," with a thumbs up emoji. They even followed it up with, "I was like, what the hell? Where's this coming from?" crying emoji. So it looks like nothing's been scrapped. You could argue Sony Animation wouldn't disclose this information to the story artist or composer anyway. And I'm not saying Jeff is wrong, and I'm definitely not saying Jeff is right. Personally, in this day and age of media and news publications, it's your job to find the sources and journalists and critics that you stand by or trust. I don't trust big news accounts predominantly sharing their news on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok or any other social media without being linked to a known journalist whose sources have a face. Still, Chris Miller reporting that nothing's been scrapped scrapped is a good signifier coming straight from the source. So as of right now, Sony or anyone else has yet to confirm a new release date. We could theorize 2025 or 2026, but that's disregarding the new Spider-Man news, another Spider-Man video game if any, Spider-Man Noir, and the new Spider-Man animated series coming to Disney. It's fine to drop Beyond the Spider-Verse during another Spidey project, but it's easier and better for Sony to drop it as a standalone on its own time with its own little flowers. In all, we should just be happy that we know it's coming out regardless. Normally, I'd say let's not normalize 3 to 4 years between TV show seasons and movies, but Beyond the Spider-Verse and a lot of heavy VFX, CGI, and animated works takes a long time. So let's wait patiently and find journalist sources and people we like the news for. Follow me at Lulu_Clemons. Get in the comments if you want to talk about the new Beyond the Spider-Verse. If we can't anticipate 2027, 2026, shoot, maybe it'll come out next year. I really highly doubt it will come out in 2025, but crazy if it would. Subscribe to all 3 channels of the new Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love, and I'll see you guys later.